Hello, everybody. It's Pastor Chris here. I know it's been a week and I haven't said anything official. Honestly, at first, I thought I might not need to say anything because this seemed to be just another blip in the radar of political violence that has come to define our time. But as I've been listening and reflecting this past week on the assassination and more importantly, the reaction to it, I definitely felt like I needed to use my voice. So let me say, first and foremost, in no uncertain terms, that I condemn the use of violence. See, I serve a God who, when his followers attempted to violently defend him from being arrested, tortured, and killed, ordered them to put down their swords, and then healed the one who had been wounded by them. I do believe violence causes far more problems than it can solve. Now, that being said, let's be clear on the fact that violence is not only physical. Violence can be emotional, psychological, sexual, financial, and yes, verbal. Though we were all taught that old adage, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me, we know deep down that the pen is more often mightier than the sword. For the pen can summon 1,000-fold more swords to its side, and in the age of the internet, it can do so instantaneously. So while I unequivocally condemn the shooting of Mr. Kirk, I am also horrified at the treatment of his death as the martyrdom of an American hero and a paragon of Christian virtue, because words were Mr. Kirk's craft and they were his weapon. He employed them quite frequently against groups of people he deemed less than. You can put all the context you want around those words, it does not make them less damaging. He was not, as I have heard many say, a bridge builder. He did not travel to college campuses around the country with the intention of reaching across the ideological divide. And if you think that he did, I don't believe you're being honest with yourself. His goal was not to bridge the gap between left and right, but rather to champion right-wing views that mere decades ago would have been considered extremist by most Americans. He was an instigator and an opportunist who used his craft to turn sound bites into views and views into influence and influence into power and wealth. To sanitize or sanctify that way of being in the world, to me, is just as distasteful as celebrating or making light of his death. I mean, there's even an AI video making its way around the internet comparing his assassination to the martyrdoms of St. Paul and Peter and Stephen. And it's just downright sacrilegious. But even more concerning to me than all of this is the amount of disinformation and speculation surrounding his murder. I mean, it's truly staggering how impossible it is to separate truth from falsehood these days. Rumors have abounded about the alleged shooter's political leanings and motivations and romantic relationships and more. And conspiracy theorists believe this was an orchestrated hit by our own government. Blatantly photoshopped images have inundated social media, proving everything and nothing all at once. And even the news reports today on Robinson's text messages feel like they can't be trusted because our own government is the proverbial boy who cried wolf. And honestly, the facts of what happened or why it happened don't matter anyway. What matters is the narratives that are being told about it and which narrative prevails. And right now, the thing that most concerns me is that the demonstrably false narrative currently being pushed by our own government is that the left as a whole is responsible for Mr. Kirk's death. That only the left engages in violence and that the left needs to be systematically rooted out and removed from society if we are to have peace. Now, as a pastor and follower of Jesus Christ, and not only that, as a human being, I have to condemn this rhetoric as strongly as I condemn the assassination of Mr. Kirk, because what we need now is not more violent words, but honest words. So here are mine. Charlie Kirk was a political influencer. That was his profession. And as a political influencer, he was a divisive figure. And many people felt targeted by his speech. He was shot by a lone gunman because of that speech. And that was wrong. And the gunman will receive justice. It was just as wrong as when a lone gunman shot and killed Democratic lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband and their dog. And he is also facing justice. Undoubtedly, violent words incited these individuals to violent actions. And so while we may have the freedom to speak as we please, let us remember we also have a responsibility to choose our words with care and respect for others. So I am asking you, America, in the name of my Lord Jesus, who is the Christ, to put down your swords. And perhaps more importantly, put down your vitriolic pens. And then reach out your hands and start healing the wounds.